Hey everyone, my name is Matt. Welcome to my shop. Today is September 13th and this is my weekly shop update. So not a whole lot of things going on in the shop this week. I spent a lot of time this past week working on my presentations for Woodworking in America, which is this week. I am really excited about it. I did a lot of prep work for these things, specifically for my lumber class because it's a lot harder to show that stuff or take stuff with me to have as visual references in the classes. So I've been making a few little models and stuff of different ways you can saw logs, and that way at least it has something to show in person. So I have a couple of little things I made here. So I have this example here which has a flat sawn board here and then a quartered log. This half is quartered. So there's the quarter here you start with, and then these are a quarter sawn, and you got some roof sawn boards there. So that's going to be a visual aid for that session. And then I also have, if you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw this thing already, this little slab drying setup model. So this is kind of a scale model of a slabbed up log that is slabbed up and drying in the European drying method, where you keep all the live edges and you just stack it all together like it was when it used to be a log. So this is a fun little visual aid that I made with a stick from the grass, or from the I found in the grass out back. So stuff like that. I'm working on the models for those. They're actually pretty quick. The longest part is working on the slide presentations, so I have all of my information all organized and whatnot. I had a couple questions from a few people, or a few people had the same question, asking if I was going to have those sessions recorded. I will. I'll have the camera there, and we're going to do our best to get a decent recording of that presentation. It's always a little hard to get those in-person recordings watchable and exciting. So there'll probably be a little bit of editing on my part just to cut out all of the dead space if there is any. If people ask questions and the camera can't hear it, I'll have to go back and put the question that I'm answering in, things like that. But it's going to be a fun weekend. I'm really looking forward to it. If you're going, I'm really looking forward to meeting you, and there are a few meetups. I think there's a meetup on Thursday night. Yeah, no, wait. I don't know. There's some meetups. I'll put the information down below. So if you're in the area and you're not attending the show, or you're attending the show and you want to attend a meetup, there'll be information about that down there. So I promised last week that I would have some shots of the completed farmhouse table. So let's roll that. So again, I'm really happy with the way the table turned out, and I'm really looking forward to making the matching set of benches for that table when I get back from Woodworking in America. And I'm also going to be back to working on the sawmill project. I'm looking forward to that as well. I got the VFD for the motor this last week, and let me show you that real quick. All right, so here is the motor I'm going to be using on the bandsaw mill. It is a 10 horsepower 3-phase motor, which means I need some way to convert my single-phase power for 3-phase. And to do that, I picked up a VFD, a variable frequency drive. I don't know a whole lot about this stuff, but I am learning. And I expect to know a lot more when this whole project is done. Now, since this thing takes so much power, I found out that manufacturers don't make, at least I wasn't able to find a single-phase input VFD capable of driving a motor this big. So for that, you have to do something called derating, which basically means that you buy a bigger VFD for the motor you're trying to run. So this is a 15 horsepower VFD, which should be able to run this 10 horsepower motor off of just 2 hot legs instead of the 3 from 3-phase. At least that's the way I understand it. Again, I have not gotten into this at all yet. It arrived at my door, and now it's out here. So one event I want to let you know about is Ironfest, or Ironfest, but Ironfest with a more southern twang to it. That is an event, it's a meeting of vintage machinery enthusiasts. So if you have a thing for giant industrial machinery that you might want to have in your woodworking shop, like if you like Frank Howarth's shop, that kind of stuff, or your name is Frank Howarth, this would be a great event for you to attend. It's at the end of September and it is in Northern Illinois. I'll have information down in the description about that. All right, so let's take a look at some viewer projects. First up this week is this beautiful cherry crib by Brandon. He built this for his daughter that was born in August, so congratulations, Brandon. What's really unique about this crib is the inlaid rose. The rose is made from maple for the petals and poplar for the leaves and stem, and there was some sand shading used on the inlay pieces to add a little bit more depth. Next is this awesome pink bench by Greg. This bench is made from 2x4s and is based off of Jay Bass's design, but instead of using pocket holes, he used screws and then plugged the screw holes and painted over the whole thing to give a nice, clean, seamless look. And this thing is awesome, painted my favorite color. Next is this beautiful sleigh restoration by Jimmy. Jimmy is 17 years old and he's been working on the sleigh restoration at school. The sleigh was originally going to be scrapped because no one was interested in restoring it, but Jimmy had a passion for this project and he was able to restore it. He carved all the runners out of red oak, mostly using hand tools, and he had an auto body shop help him restore the original metal. Next is a Memento Box by Mark. Mark decided to make this Memento Box for his son and wife for their 1-year wedding anniversary. They had recently had new flooring installed, so he used a scrap piece of that flooring for the top and added some mementos from the place where they were married. So I think that's about all I have for you this week. If you're heading to Woodworking in America, looking forward to seeing you there. I, again, am really excited for the whole thing. Yeah. If you have any questions or comments about anything I talked about today or anything you hear in my shop, please feel free to leave me a comment. As always, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. And until next time, happy woodworking.